Hey y'all, this is Infinite Prime, and I'm back this evening with another video. So the last video I was touching on like the reconstruction of our purpose here as far as women on the planet and how we have different roles that we're supposed to be embarking on. Like we've got missions here, and it's not just focused on being mothers, but we have other roles here, other divine roles here that we have to play on this planet to help to make it a more balanced planet. So I spoke on that, and now I want to dive into like what usually like is one of the blocks for us that where we don't really tap into the missions that we have here on this planet. A lot of it has to do with because we've been programmed to feel like the fulfillment of life is based upon being in relationships and making sure that that's great, and if you do that then everything else will fall into place. So let's talk about heartache, heartbreak, and like how that affects us as like psychologically. It can definitely play a big role of just putting a halt in your life. And I just feel like because of us living in America and this society, we really don't think about like a holistic healing when it comes to when you're not in a relationship anymore, when there has been a breakup, when there's been a divorce. And that's like really important. And I just don't think that we speak on that. So I want to talk about how we can go through a healing process, because there should be a healing process. We talk about the loss of, loved ones with like death and stuff, but we don't talk about like a loss of a relationship. And just like I said, the psychological effects that it can have on us, and just steps that we can take to try to heal through this. Because if we're not able to heal this, then it really puts a damper on the next relationship that we get into. Usually we have baggage that ends up, seeping into the next relationship, and it's just like it just can just be a whole freaking mess. So I want to talk about the healing process. I'll be looking down because I got my book. So I feel like when you are going through a breakup, that it is similar to death, because like dealing with a death, because what you're dealing with is like the death of an actual relationship. So it's like, what do we do? Unfortunately we can just spiral, and it doesn't have to be something like crazy or psychotic of like being at the guy's house and keying the car and slashing the tires. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. It can be like just depression. We as women already just have such this high unattainable standard that has been put on us, to where we're just supposed to be able to just do and handle everything, and we're not supposed to feel anything, and we should get over stuff quickly and push on, whatever. When it's like, we really need to dial back. When we've gone through a breakup, it is so important for us to dial back and to take the time to heal. So I just came up with like some healing modalities that I feel like really did help me throughout situations within the relationships I've been through divorce. I've been through just like relationships that were not good for me, that were toxic, that weren't helpful to my well-being. I've been through being in a relationship and being in love with somebody and them dying. Like, I feel like I've been through it. So I feel like I'm vetted to share, some healing modalities with you all. So so I would just start with the grieving process. Okay, like initially right after a breakup. And please know that this has to do with whether you wanted to break up with the individual, or the person or the other individual broke up with you. Like, there is still a grieving process. So I just want to make that clear, that this is accessible for the breakup person and the person who was broke up on, right? So the grieving process, allow yourself to go through the motions, okay? When this is fresh, you know, this wound is fresh, and so there's going to be pain. Like when you first hurt yourself, you cut yourself, that's going to be the initial pain, right? So you've got pain receptors in your body when it comes to loss too. When you are not in that relationship anymore, the relationship has ended. You know, you need to go through the motions, allow yourself to feel. You know, if you are sad, then you need to release and, you know, cry. If you're angry, you know, express that anger. Of course, in a safe way. I'm not suggesting nobody go to nobody's house and key no cars and all that other badness, because that's going to just fall back on you in a negative way. But you can express your anger through, you know, writing. Journaling is like a really good thing because it's a really good release. If you want to talk about your problems with somebody who you trust and love, that's a really good way. And sometimes you don't even need their response. You just need to release. And so if you have someone that can hold space for you to release with no judgment and just let you do your thing, then that's a really good way to express your emotions too. Sometimes, you know, yelling, screaming, you know, just in a safe space where nobody's looking like, oh God, somebody's dying, you know, but like just, you need to scream or release, you know, hey, put your head in a pillow, scream it out. Like if you, whatever you need to do, like to release, because it's energy. You have to understand that we human beings are energy. Literally, that is all we are made up of, is energy, right? So these energies, when we're going through things that are traumatic, can be trapped inside of us. And it is so necessary for us to release the energy, right? So that, because it's not supposed to stay bottled up within you. It's for you to be able to release. That's why the body wants to yell or scream or cry, right? Or maybe punch a punching bag, whatever the case may be, however you want to release this energy. And so, you know, there's, okay, I went over, sadness. Okay. And then you have depression too, where you get in a space where, you know, you're just depressed, you know, whatever depression looks like for you. Not showering, that's a form of depression. The house becoming a hot fucking mess, that's a form of depression. I know when I went through my depressions, my house looked like a hot mess. Like, and it's so interesting. Sometimes you go through depression and you don't even know you're depressed, right? Especially if you're the person just always just tries to push on, and you know, or even like, you know, you got so many responsibilities, like you're not even aware of your depression because there is too much that you have to do until you finally maybe take the time to look up and just be like, damn, my house is a mess. Like there's just stuff all over, there's clothes everywhere, you know, whatever the case may be, where you have to just regroup. There's depression, like with eating disorders, can occur too. And I know, like with me during my depressions of loss and relationships and stuff like that, I feel like when I was one of the last toxic situationships that I was in, I was eating excessive amounts of sugar. Like I cannot express to you how bad it was. Like I was going to 7-Eleven, I was getting like Brookies. If you know, you know. They're at 7-Eleven. I used to buy Brookies like almost every other day. And like I said, sometimes things are in retrospect. I didn't realize how bad things were until I was finally on my way out of it. Looking back, like, whoa, you were tripping. But I was eating Brookies, and that's like a brownie. That's like a cookie and a brownie. I was eating those like almost every day. I was eating a lot of M&Ms with the almonds. I mean, the peanuts. It was bad. Like, sugar. It was excessive amounts of sugar. And it's just like a coping mechanism. There can be, like, you smoking a lot of cigarettes. Smoking a lot of weed. yeah, doing hard drugs, like it depends. It's like choose your poison. I'm not here to judge nobody because everybody has their vice. Everybody has some type of form of like fixation on something. And like I said, with mine, I'm open and honest with you guys. It was sugar. I've never been like much of a drinker at all. Like I can count on one hand how many times I drink a year, literally, because I just don't care for drinking like that. But I am a sugar booger. So, with me, it became excessive. It became like really bad. Like I was eating sugar all the time, ice cream, making cookies, and I make some bomb ass cookies. So that was just bad in itself because I was able to facilitate my choice of drug, which was sugar, and make these delicious cookies all the time. So of course, throughout my depression, I'm sure my children were just having a ball. Like, wow, mom's giving us all this sugar. I laugh at it now because it's terrible. I even apologized to my children. Like, I am so sorry. Like, I really was going in, and everybody was just benefiting off of it as far as, like, kids like to eat candy and sugar and stuff. So, back on the subject. So, like, depression. It could be, sugar, drugs, whatever, sex. You can be like, oh, I'm over it. I'm about to go get it in with other people and, and have sex, a lot of sex partners, or, kind of trying to rebel from like the relationship didn't work out. So now I'm just going to fuck everybody. Like it can like materialize in so many different strange ways. And so like, if I didn't cover something and you are excessively doing something, don't think that that's not either, because it's just an excessive amount of too much of anything is not good for you. So just think about it and be like, damn, and that's just a good realization, because then it's like you can try your best to try to taper off of it, right? So yeah, what was I gonna say? But at the end of the day, understand that we came here on this planet to feel. And I know that's like hard. It can be a hard concept, like to conceptualize that, but it's so true. Like we came here to feel. Like that's the whole point of like the experience here on the planet. The thing that separates us from being a celestial, or you could say ethereal being, than from being a flesh person, like, a human being. To be human is to feel. So if you came here on this planet and all you're trying to do is not feel, you're going to have issues. You're going to have problems, because that's exactly why we came here, was to feel. Touch, taste, feel, see. Touch, taste, feel, see, hear, right? So the emotions, we're supposed to feel this stuff. So it's like, don't feel like you need to hold back with what you're feeling. Like, feel it. Even as uncomfortable as it may feel, just feel it and just allow it to leave, though. Don't stay in the space of feeling it, right? Have those inner dialogues with yourself, like, okay, I'm feeling this is not comfortable, I'm going to feel it, I'm going to release it. Okay, when you feel like it's been there long enough, that feeling, okay, thank you, you can leave now. Like, and for real, say that in your mind, or say that out loud. Like, your body has to listen to you. Okay, it will start to subside. You'll see the feelings go, because emotions are supposed to be like the ocean. It's supposed to go up onto the shore. That's the emotion, like going up onto the shore, right? The waters, emotions, water, same thing. That's why emotions are linked with water. It's feeling. Okay, it's feeling. So when those waters come up to the shore, those emotions, allow them. But just like the ocean, the waters draw back, right? Okay, just think of the shore as being your body, the earth, right? Because we are flesh, and the waters are your emotions, and they're coming up onto the shore, which is you. Allow it to come, but just as you allow it to come, allow it to go. Allow it to leave. And remember that grieving is a process and it takes time. It's not just a one time thing. You know, sometimes there will be triggers where you'll feel a certain thing, certain smell. Maybe he wore that cologne or whatever, or maybe somebody says a certain says something a certain way. It may remind you of that person. Like, you know what I'm saying? But just allow those feelings to come and leave. Don't always be so quick to anger and being like letting it put you in a bad mood and all that type of stuff. Like, that's not what it's for. It's for you to feel it and for you to release it. And as time goes on, because you are being so forgiving and loving to yourself, there will be things that are said or smelled or heard, and it won't affect you like that anymore. You'll be like, oh, and then it'll just be that, and you'll just go on about your day, right? So, yeah, feel it, but release it. And then, you know, when you're going through the grieving process of like losing, being, you know, a relationship ending is what I'm trying to say. Losing your lover because you guys aren't together no more or whatever. Treat yourself the way you try to uplift others in tough times. Be there for yourself. And that's why I go back to like how you will lovingly, you know, you have to treat yourself with kindness. This is not the time for you to beat yourself up. This is not the time for you to, oh, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, because what has happened has happened. Okay, it is now in the past tense. You were in a relationship with somebody, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent, right? This is not the time for you to start blaming yourself for things, okay? It's already, you're in a tough spot. Just think about it. If you were like hanging out with your best friend and they were going through a divorce or a breakup, you're not going to sit there and talk trash. If you're a good person, you're not going to do it. Talk trash, girl, I told your ass and he ain't shit, you know. Hopefully you aren't that toxic person that's like that, and that you are someone with a heart that is compassionate to see and empathize with others and want to uplift them in times of trouble, right? You have to make sure that you emit that same energy to yourself. Be loving to yourself. Okay, you gotta do the things that you would do for somebody else if they were in a bad relationship. Where it's like, oh girl, we're not about to worry about that. You know, I want to help you and facilitate you in any way I can. Your friend might make you a meal that you really like, or take you out to eat, or maybe you watch a funny movie, right? Okay, you do that for yourself. You have to learn to self-soothe. You know, this is where emotional intelligence comes in. You have to learn how to love yourself and uplift yourself and be your own biggest cheerleader in life. Because sometimes the people are not going to be there for you. And like me, I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm such a private person. I don't even like talking to people about my situation and circumstances like that. I'm kind of like to myself. And so I learned a lot of self-soothing because of that. And I'm grateful for it because it's like I know how to regulate my own emotions. I know how to heal myself. So you have to tap into doing that and doing things to uplift yourself. Play uplifting music. You know, we live in a society where they focus on, it's like just like self-loathing culture, you know, like you're in a bad relationship, it ended, and now you're listening to this sad ass music and you're watching sad movies, and you just, it's like you're just adding fuel to the fire of what you're already going through, when you should be loving on yourself and trying to help yourself throughout the situation that you're in, right? So you gotta lift yourself up. You gotta uplift yourself. Be your biggest cheerleader. You know, that's what we're supposed to. That's what self-love looks like. You have to find your way back to yourself. A lot of us get lost in relationships and we become so intertwined with another individual that we don't know who the fuck we are anymore. And that is a dangerous place to be in. I know all about it because every freaking relationship that I was in, I was like, I think it also has to do with me being a Pisces moon too, which is just like, they're already the chameleons of the zodiac, which means that it's not that we're like trying to be like that other person. It's just that because Pisces is water and it's so flowy, it's like we just kind of like flow into other people. We can just vibe and gel with the person, especially if we love them or we really like them, easily fall into the same lines of things that they enjoy, and we'll enjoy it because we enjoy them type of things. Like we're just open to like learning and experiencing different things. And so with our partner, we will learn and experience things with them that they're into, and it kind of molds and gels to us. And then, but see, there's a thin line between you sharing and being a part of other people's interest and you getting lost in somebody else's energy, which is very easy for Pisces to do if you don't know how to self-regulate, and also if you don't know who you are and you're always constantly reaching for other people's energy and connecting with theirs instead of having opportunity to actually connect with your own energy. That is so necessary. And I feel like because women, we are taught to just like grow up and get into relationships and get married and have kids. It's like they don't talk about like you finding yourself first. And that is like really important. Like me, I have 5 children and I got married young, and I had my first child at 19, and I was married like at 20 or 21 or whatever. And it's like I just did all this stuff, and in retrospect, like I wish that I would have taken more time for myself, just like, you know, sort of 2 or 3 years to like really just get to know me before I just got so caught up in relationships. But like, you know, that's just the lesson that I learned in life. And so I'm sharing it with you all. Like, you have to get to know who you are before you get lost in other people, because then you don't even really know what your own energy feels like, because you're always, you know, you're always intertwined with other people's energies. Then there's taking time to process your past relationships. Okay? Ships, whatever. And this can also, I want you to know, this can also apply to friendships too. Okay? Because you can have fallouts with friends too. I've had plenty. I've had so many. It's ridiculous. Like, it's unfortunately in my chart where like it just says, you know, unfortunately I would just be in a lot of trash relationships, friendships, relationships, all the ships. Okay, they've all sailed. So but it's like I have done an assessment and really thought about each relationship that I've had with friends, with lovers, and just assessing them, assessing what was helpful to me, what wasn't helpful for me, what was toxic, you know, where I could have done better in relationships. Because, you know, it's a two-way street. I was not perfect in my relationships, and I see my shortcomings. I had a lot of self-worth to deal with, so I would put a lot of that on them, relying on them to help me to feel better about myself, instead of me understanding that that's an inside job that I'm supposed to uplift and build up my own self-esteem and my own self-worth, and that is not for somebody else to do for me. And unfortunately, in the relationships, I mean, in society, we're taught that everybody is supposed to be like there for each other. Like, he's supposed to take on your problems, you're supposed to take on his problems. That is incorrect. And that's why we have so many imbalanced relationships here on this planet, because we have been taught that we're supposed to take on the burdens of our lovers, and it's not true. Like, we have to self-heal. This is what it counts. That's why you have people who are in abusive relationships. okay? Where domestic violence is at an all-time high because people are in relationships where they feel like, oh, I can heal him, I can fix him, and oh, I love him, and he's really not like that, and you know, I can fix it. And it's like, no, boo, that's not your job. That's not your job. Your job is not here to try to fix people who are screwing you over or treating you like shit. That's not what you're here for. You're here to learn yourself, understand who you are and what energy that you hold, what gifts it is that you're supposed to give to the earth and to the people. You cannot do that if you're in a relationship with somebody who keeps sucking you dry, who keeps taking advantage of you, who keeps treating you like trash. Right? And then you get thrown away after you've been drained so terribly. Then they don't want you no more because the light that they saw within you, they sucked it all. So then you're broken up and now you feel like trash. You don't even know who you are anymore. And that's why you should know yourself, know your values, know your boundaries, know what you will put up with and what you will not put up before you get inside of relationships. So if you are one of those people that are just down in the dumps, you don't know who you are, all this type of stuff, there's a lot of processing that you have to do, and you need to go through these steps in order to help to heal yourself so that you'll be ready to be in a relationship when it's time, in its divine timing, okay? So yeah, you have to go through it and see and process those past relationships and feel them, understand where you went wrong, what you want to put up with, what you don't want to put up with, your boundaries, you know, and then that will make you a whole better person. Throughout this whole situation that you're in, I need you to know that you need to be celibate. Everything that we have spoke on, you do not need to be having sex with nobody. You don't need to be having sex with anybody because you are a hot fucking mess right now. And I say that with all the love of my heart. There is no way in hell that you should be intertwining with anybody while you are going through the motions. You have broken up with somebody. Somebody has broken up with you. Why would you add some more energy, other energies, random ass energies to this already clusterfuck? You have to, this big knot and ball that is just a hot mess, you need to be pretty much like untangling it. That's what you're doing. And that's why they call it soul ties. Because when you're in relationships with people, you're creating soul ties. There's a tether. There is a tether when you get into relationships with people. And that's why things need to be cut. And the only way you can cut it is by psychological processing. You have to figure out, why did I even get with this person in the first place? If it's really toxic, right? Sometimes they're not toxic. Sometimes the relationship just ran its course and there's nothing more for you guys to learn from each other anymore. And that's okay too. Every person that you break up with, you don't have to hate. Sometimes it's just an expiration. Hey, you learn this, I learned this, and we're friends. Or maybe we're not friends, but we just appreciate the experience that we have with one another and we can go our separate ways, right? So understand that there is a lot to be processed, and please do not add having sex with anybody within this process, or it will make it even harder and longer for you to heal from. If you want to heal, go through the process of celibacy. Learn how to be in your own energy. You do not need to be intertwining yourself with nobody at this moment in time. Sex should be the last thing on your mind. And I understand it's pleasurable and it feels fun and it's a great time. But after the love is gone, how did you leave me on? Right? After it's over, then what? You're back in the space of sorrow because you haven't got over the relationship that you're in. You're creating another soul tie with somebody that you may like or maybe you don't like. And so now you've got more stuff to process. And that's not what you want. I'm trying to think about that Earth, Wind, and Fire song. where it's like literally talking about like having sex and how like after the was it after the love is gone? There's another one. I can't think of it right now. Anyway, there's a Earth, Wind, and Fire song that talks about that though, about how you are having sex and then once the party's over or something like that. I can't remember it. If I remember it, I'll put it in the comments. But it's just fleeting is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, sex is fun, but it's fleeting, and it creates tethers. So don't do it. So I'm gonna just read the rest. I said, get clean with yourself. Was your relationship even healthy? Did you all grow? Was it stagnant? Was it one-sided? Were you pouring into one another? Did you value yourself while you were in the relationship, or were you putting others above yourself and devouring yourself? I'm sorry, devaluing, not devouring, devaluing yourself. Or were you devaluing your partner, right? Forgiveness allows yourself, this is the last thing you need to do, is forgive. Forgiveness allows yourself to forgive. We all deserve happiness, whether or not you played the role of the antagonist or the victim. They both need to take the responsibility and pay a significant they both need to take the responsibility of who played the significant role in each other's life. Like, what role did you play? The blame game is a waste of time because those who are the victim need to take accountability for staying in fucked up relationships. Okay? And the antagonist needs to take accountability for taking others for granted and neglecting fair treatment. And so then that's their lesson, right? So it's like the antagonist in a relationship has to learn how to forgive themselves for being such an asshole and taking for granted the relationships that they're in, and understanding that they do deserve love and they don't always have to push love away and treat people like trash because they have issues with themselves, and so they just push people away and treat people like trash, right? And then the person who is like be what you would call like the victim in a relationship has to understand, like, why is it that you stayed? Because that's a form of not loving yourself. If you're staying in situations that make you uncomfortable and you're not happy, why are you there? Why can't you love yourself enough to let go? Regardless of whatever potential you may see in that other partner, if they are not expressing that potential to you, or there's not any reciprocity in relationship, why are you still there? That's the thing. Like, you know, people who play the victim always just want to, oh, why me? I don't understand what's happening to me. I used to be the victim. Oh, why is it happening to me? Why is it happening to me? Why is it happening to me? Why are you allowing it to happen to yourself? Because we get in a space where we know we're such good people, right? But it's like, you can't sit there and say, well, I don't understand. Like, I'm such a good person. Why can't I see that about me? It's not for them to see it about you. Did you see it about yourself? You know you're a good person. That's know thyself. Know you're good enough and get out of the situation. I'm a great person. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, I deserve better than this. Okay? So it's like, we have to take accountability, whether we're on the asshole side or the overdoing it, over loving, clingy side. They both need to be healed. And then at the very end is to open up to love again, because you deserve love. Throughout my journey, I have been very closed off to love. I have been single for like a really long time. And at first I used to be like, you know, why am I single? Like, whatever. And I was feeling insecure, like, oh, why, you know, maybe people aren't attracted to me, whatever. But then I had to think about it. And like, also my ancestors were very clear with me too. Like, you're not open to it, honey. You want it, but you're not open for it. You are side-eyeing the world. You looking at everybody like they are a villain because you've been hurt so much that you have put, you know, like a shell around your heart and you won't allow anybody in. Understand and know that throughout your situation and circumstances, that if you have taken the time to deconstruct your relationships, understand your part you play, understand the part they play, understand the healing that needs to take place, then you have learned something, right? And with that learning and understanding, you have grown. And so with the growth comes discernment, or you can call it wisdom. And if you've done the work, the inner work, and you have built up your self-worth, and you know your boundaries, you won't be put in situations and circumstances like that anymore. I promise you, because you're not gonna allow it. If you have done the work to grow and learn and retain wisdom, your spirit won't even allow you to be in a situation or a circumstance like that ever again. You won't even draw or attract those type of people to you anymore, because it's almost like playing a video game. You know, it's like you play the level, boom, boom, boom. You finish the level. You have the opportunity to start the game over and go back if you want to, but most people don't do that. They usually, what are the video game player? They're going to what? Level up. They're going to go to the next level of the game, right? So you won't be dealing with that type of situation. I'm not saying that you won't ever experience or encounter challenges ever again in life. Of course, new levels, new devils. But just know that you won't be dealing with that no more. So you will have discernment and you will have wisdom that is riding along with you for the journey. And you can open yourself up to love again. And you will know who you want to talk to and who you don't want to talk to. Okay, so let me see if there's anything else I want to say. Open up your heart to love again. For those who took love for granted, when to make sure to not push love away. Okay, I already brought that up. Okay, yeah. So, yeah. Oh, and I had to wrote this last thing about celibacy. The only way you can get a clear mind and heart and soul, you need to be with yourself for a while. Don't distract yourself with other people to feel valued and receive attention. It is not what you need at this time. Please allow yourself to give yourself the attention that you are constantly seeking from others. How will you know what your soul needs if it is constantly seeking others' energy or you always trying to pour it into other people? They are both in their own way draining. Also, you don't need to create any more soul ties, cords, or connections. You need to clear the ones that you have created with others. So, yeah, it's like clear out what's here before you start making another mess, right? Making more problems for yourself. So, I'm going to end my video right here. I really hope that it reached those who really need this, because I feel like we're in a time where, you know, Spirit is calling us to go on a healing process. A lot of you. And I understand that I am a way shower, which means that the way showers are ones that have been through what like a lot of people will probably be experiencing soon. And so it's like with my situations and circumstances, I can try to help others. So I really hope that this reaches whoever it needs to reach. Take the time to love yourself and understand and know that you are truly loved by the Great Mother and the universe and the angels and your ancestors, and to take the time to love yourself and to take good care of yourself once you left, or once somebody has left you in a relationship. It is necessary. The healing process needs to take place, and you lapping a relationship, being a serial monogamous, you're still going to be unfulfilled because you haven't even hashed out or cleaned out old relationships. And so they will continue to rear their ugly heads in whatever way, shape, and form of which you haven't healed yet. So I love you all, and have a great afternoon, day, evening, or whatever it is. The Priestess, Infinite Prime, signing off.